Orphan Barrel Rhetoric, aged 24 years, Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. Should you grab one? Stay tuned for the Whiskey Whistle. Howdy, my whiskey people. Mark here from Whiskey Whistle on YouTube, sharing a little whiskey awesomeness from Winnipeg, the center of North America, bringing you Orphan Barrel Rhetoric, aged 24 years, Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. Now, you see a new bottle here that has not been opened. You see an old bottle with just a little bit left. That was cracked just a couple of months ago, and then I put it under some gas to make sure that there was no degradation from then until now. All right, so let's check out the color first of all. And this, by the way, is the 2021 WhiskyWhistle Deluxe Bourbon Whiskey of the Year. And by the way, this is the 2021 WhiskyWhistle Whiskey of the Year for the category of Deluxe American Whiskey. All right, so the color first of all. A nice medium copper, and interestingly, after 24 years, it is this color and no darker. So the legs then for Orphan Barrel Rhetoric, 24 years old. And I guess they've put out a new Rhetoric, 25-year-old very recently. This one I bought locally. I think it was $164 Canadian plus tax. So around about $180. And if you say, oh, that's expensive, but you compare that to Scotch single malt whiskey at the same age, and it is a half to a third of the price. All right, so the legs, here we go. Medium speed first legs. Did I mention the proof? This one is 45.4% ABV or 90.8 proof. Nice thick beefy legs. All right, onto the nose. We have leather, we have newsprint, fresh printer paper. We have old classic Inkwell ink. But then we have this bold cherry pit coming through on the nose. Cherry pit, cherry wood. Really, really interesting here. Lots of leather as well. Okay, the palate, neat. Cheers. I really enjoyed that. But before we get into that, make sure you subscribe to the channel here on Whiskey Whistle right here. Hit the bell also, ding ding, so you're notified of future Whiskey Whistles. And if you're enjoying Whiskey Whistle, then why not support the channel and become a Whiskey Whistle crewmate? Patreon.com/WhiskyWhistle. Check me out. You'll get your name in the credits at the end of the show. You'll also get advanced viewing of future Whiskey Whistles. And you can also get a Whiskey Whistle Glencairn glass after 3 months or more of patronage. So hopefully we'll see you there. Interesting cherry cough syrupy note coming through as I'm talking and sipping here. Really big on the cherry. At first it's a bit dry, and then it softens up a bit as you chew that bourbon. The finish is dominated by cherry, cherry wood, cherry pit, cherry pie. Tiniest little bit of nutmeg, almost no cinnamon here. And then you get this slight minty, basil type of note. And I'm guessing that's coming from this being a slightly high rye bourbon, aged 24 years. And this is what happens to those flavors. Minty, cherry. Yeah, very much cough candy. Hall's cherry, Ricola, that herbally cherry flavor. Okay, let's add some water. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think that was 9. Okay, so about 2/3 of a milliliter, not too much. Again, this is quite an old bourbon. And if you take this bourbon and you translate that to Scotch whiskey age, it's more like 40. So you got to be very careful with the amount of water you add. With water, I get more cherry pie right up on the nose. We still have some nice ready to burn logs that are in line right next to your fire pit, getting hot, getting steamy. Really interesting. A little bit of bark, burning bark. Okay, the palate. Not really much change. A little bit sweeter, not quite as dry. And the finish, you get more access to that delicious cherry pie that is the driver here for this whiskey. Final sip. The finish is a tad too dry for my liking, but what are you going to do? This is a 24-year-old bourbon, and it does what it does, and you can't engineer it any other way than the way it ends up. So you have to appreciate that. So when you're buying something like this, you have to recognize that there are certain things that improve, and there's certain things that that become a detriment in a way. So I got a very astringent dryness in my mouth, but I'm okay with that because, heck, I'm drinking 24-year-old Kentucky straight bourbon, baby. So let's get on to the WhiskyWhistle whiskey score for Orphan Barrel Rhetoric 24-year-old. What is that going to be, folks? It's going to be 92 out of 100. You heard it, 92 out of 100 is the WhiskyWhistle whiskey score for Orphan Barrel Rhetoric. Really interesting, very enjoyable. This is a Diageo product, and I wonder where the barrels come from. They try to keep that a secret, though. People they can figure it out where they came from things like the character, from things like which distilleries Diageo bought when they started their bourbon, what can I call it? Their bourbon plan. All right. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Leave me your thoughts if you have tried this or you want to try it. And if you've tried it, please let me know your tasting notes, your thoughts. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Please let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Check me out on Patreon, as I mentioned, patreon.com/WhiskyWhistle. And hey, get in touch with me, whether it's through Instagram or Twitter, at WhiskyWhistle, also on Facebook and on TikTok, although I haven't put really anything out there other than just one little video, which is not me dancing. Maybe I should. All right, take care, folks. My name's Mark. We'll see you for the next one. Bye now.